When you think of dairy, you picture comfort, cold milk in a glass, creamy yogurt in the morning, or a slice of cheese that feels wholesome and familiar. Dairy looks innocent. It looks natural. But the truth sitting on those grocery shelves today is nothing like the milk and cheese our parents grew up with. Behind the bright labels and healthy claims, many dairy products are pumped full of cheap fillers, processed fats, artificial sugars, thickeners, gums, and hormones your body was never meant to digest. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type "interested" in the comments. And I will give you a heart. Some of these products spike blood sugar worse than soda. Some trigger inflammation quietly for years. Some are dairy in name only, lab-made formulas engineered to taste creamy while offering nothing your body actually needs. And the worst part is simple: most people have no idea. They think they are making healthy choices, while eating something that behaves more like dessert, or worse, like plastic disguised as food. So today, we are going straight to the truth. No sugarcoating. No industry filters. You're about to see the 10 dairy products you should avoid at all costs, plus the ones that are actually safe, clean, and worth keeping in your kitchen. If you care about your long-term health, your heart, your hormones, your gut, your weight, this list matters more than you think. Before we jump in, tell me in the comments. What dairy product do you buy the most? Milk, cheese, yogurt, or cream? Type it below. You might be shocked by what ends up on this list. Now let's get into the first one. Flavored yogurts like Yoplait Strawberry, the breakfast that acts like candy. Yogurt has built one of the strongest health food reputations in America. People grab it in the morning thinking they're doing the right thing, choosing something light, clean, and good for digestion. But flavored yogurts, especially brands like Yoplait Original Strawberry, are one of the biggest nutrition traps in the entire dairy aisle. They are marketed as wholesome, but when you really look at what's inside, the truth is uncomfortable. These cups act more like dessert than breakfast, and the sugar levels alone prove it. A single Yoplait Original Strawberry has around 26 grams of sugar. That's nearly the same amount you'd get from a candy bar. And most of that sugar isn't coming from strawberries or anything close to real fruit. If you check the ingredients, what you find isn't chunks of fresh berries. It's artificial flavor compounds designed to taste like fruit without offering any of the vitamins, antioxidants, or fiber that real fruit gives your body. Manufacturers start by removing fat from the yogurt to make it low-fat or fat-free. But when you strip out the fat, you also strip out the flavor and creaminess. To fix that, they pour in sugar, sweeteners, flavor enhancers, and thickeners to make the yogurt feel satisfying again. The end result looks like yogurt, but nutritionally it behaves like a sweetened pudding cup. And because there's no fat to slow anything down, that sugar rushes into your bloodstream fast, spiking blood sugar, triggering cravings, and feeding the bad bacteria in your gut, the exact opposite of what yogurt is supposed to do. Companies still push the idea that you're eating something full of probiotics. But the high sugar content completely undermines that benefit. Those good bacteria don't thrive in a sugary environment, the harmful ones do. So instead of helping your gut, flavored yogurts can quietly throw it off balance, leading to bloating, digestive issues, and even inflammation over time. And here's the twist most people never expect: low-fat yogurt keeps you hungry. Fat is the thing that helps your body absorb nutrients and stay full. When you take it out, you end up eating more throughout the day without even realizing why. So that healthy yogurt at 7 a.m. can make you crave carbs at 10 a.m. and sweets by 2 p.m. It's not your lack of willpower, it's the design of the product. The solution isn't to abandon yogurt. It's to choose the right kind: plain, unsweetened, full-fat Greek yogurt that hasn't been engineered to behave like candy. Add your own berries. Add your own drizzle of honey if you need sweetness. At least then you know what you're eating, not a chemical strawberry illusion built in a factory. Have you ever checked the sugar on your yogurt label? Type yes or no in the comments. The answers always surprise people. Processed cheese slices like Kraft Singles, the cheese that isn't even allowed to be called cheese. Processed cheese slices are one of those products almost everyone grew up with, inside a grilled cheese, on a burger, folded into a sandwich. They melt perfectly, they stretch, they never clump, and they never seem to go bad. And that's the first warning sign. Real food spoils. Real cheese molds. But Kraft Singles? They stay smooth, shiny, and shelf-stable in a way that has nothing to do with nature and everything to do with manufacturing. Here's the truth most people still don't know: Kraft singles legally cannot be called cheese. Not even in the fine print. The label always says pasteurized prepared cheese product, which is the FDA's polite way of saying it doesn't meet the minimum requirements to qualify as real cheese. That alone tells you something is off. But the ingredients tell the full story. Inside each slice is a mix of milk protein concentrate, whey, emulsifiers, preservatives, coloring agents, and stabilizers, blended together under high heat and pressure until it forms a uniform orange sheet that gets cut into perfect slices. That smooth texture isn't a sign of quality. It's a sign of engineering. And the bright color? That comes from additives like annatto or artificial dyes, not from anything naturally found in milk. Nutritionally, the problems go deeper. One slice carries over 250 milligrams of sodium all by itself, and most people use 2 or 3 without thinking. When you add bread, condiments, and whatever else you're eating, a simple sandwich can suddenly push you close to half your daily sodium limit in one sitting. Over time, that contributes to high blood pressure, water retention, inflammation, and increased strain on your heart. And the biggest issue is the illusion of health. Because Kraft singles are promoted as made with real milk, many people assume they're getting calcium, protein, and nutrients similar to real cheese. But the reality is flipped. The heavy processing breaks down most of the natural structure and strains out the nutrients, replacing them with emulsifiers and salts meant to stretch shelf life and guarantee that picture-perfect melt every time. There's a reason a block of real cheddar can grow mold within days once opened, but Kraft singles can sit in your fridge for weeks without changing color or texture. They are not aging. They are not fermenting. They are not real cheese. They are a lab-built substitute meant to be cheap, convenient, and nearly indestructible. Great for profit, terrible for health. If you want real cheese, buy a block, cheddar, mozzarella, Swiss, or whatever you love, and slice it yourself. You'll get real milk, real flavor, and actual nutrients without the chemical shortcuts or the sodium overload. And you'll instantly taste the difference. Be honest, did you know Kraft singles weren't legally allowed to be called cheese? Type cheese facts if this shocked you. Whipped toppings like Cool Whip, sweet, fluffy, and almost completely fake. Whipped toppings should be simple, real cream whisked with a little sweetness until it turns light and airy. But products like Cool Whip flip that idea upside down. They look like whipped cream, they act like whipped cream, and they top desserts like whipped cream, but the truth is they contain almost no actual cream. Instead, they are made from a blend of hydrogenated oils, high fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, and chemical stabilizers that create a texture your taste buds recognize, even though your body doesn't. Let's start with the biggest red flag. Hydrogenated oils form the base of most commercial whipped toppings. These oils create trans fats, the same fats scientists have linked directly to inflammation, heart disease, and the kind of artery damage that shows up after decades of eating ultra-processed foods. Even if the label claims 0 grams trans fat, that only means the amount per serving is low enough to legally round down. Those tiny amounts build up, especially when people use whipped toppings generously on pies, hot chocolate, fruit bowls, and holiday desserts. Then comes the high fructose corn syrup. It adds sweetness, but at a cost. This corn-based sweetener spikes blood sugar, feeds belly fat, encourages cravings, and contributes to insulin resistance far more aggressively than natural sugar. Add that to synthetic flavorings and stabilizers and you're looking at a product that delivers none of the benefits of real dairy and all of the drawbacks of industrial fillers. Another hidden concern is the emulsifiers. These chemicals keep Cool Whip frothy and uniform so it can sit in your freezer for months without deflating or separating. But emulsifiers don't just change the texture of food, they can also disrupt the lining of your gut, irritate your digestive system, and, according to emerging research, alter gut bacteria in ways that may increase inflammation and cravings. That's a heavy price to pay for something meant to sit on top of a slice of pie. And we haven't even talked about the flavoring. Many whipped toppings rely on artificial vanilla and imitation dairy compounds designed to mimic the taste of real cream. They smell familiar, but they are built in a lab. Meanwhile, the product stays fluffy because it's stabilized with chemical thickeners that prevent it from collapsing the way real whipped cream naturally does over time. When you add all of this together, you end up with something that looks and tastes nostalgic, but has nothing in common with real cream. The ingredients that make it cheap and convenient are the same ingredients that weigh down your health, especially if you're already dealing with inflammation, blood sugar issues, or heart concerns. If you want the real experience, the healthier option is incredibly simple. Whip your own cream. 1 ingredient, heavy organic cream. A teaspoon of honey or maple syrup if you like it sweet. You'll avoid the trans fats, skip the chemicals, and give your body natural fats it can actually use. Cool Whip might taste light, but what it does to your health isn't light at all. If you were shocked that Cool Whip isn't even made from cream, type Whip Truth in the comments. Flavored milk, the kid-friendly drink that's really a sugar bomb in disguise. Milk has always been marketed as a symbol of health, something that builds strong bones, supports growing kids, and fuels your body with calcium and protein. But flavored milk turns that wholesome image upside down. Whether it's chocolate milk, strawberry milk, or the brightly colored cartons handed out in school cafeterias, what you're actually drinking isn't a nutritious beverage at all. It's dessert in liquid form, cleverly disguised as something healthy. Let's break down the biggest problem right away, the sugar. A small 8-ounce serving of chocolate milk can contain up to 24 grams of sugar, which is nearly identical to the sugar content in a can of soda. That means every sip sends your blood sugar soaring, forces your pancreas to release a surge of insulin, and leaves your body dealing with the same metabolic consequences you'd get from eating candy for breakfast. And because the drink still looks and tastes like milk, most people never question it. It doesn't stop there. Many flavored milks rely on high fructose corn syrup, one of the cheapest sweeteners in the food industry and one of the harshest on your liver. This ingredient has been linked to fatty liver disease, belly fat accumulation, and insulin resistance, conditions that can set the stage for diabetes over time. Combine that with artificial flavors designed to mimic cocoa or strawberry without using real fruit, and you get a beverage that's more chemical than dairy. Another concern is carrageenan, a thickener extracted from seaweed and added to improve texture. Even though it sounds natural, certain forms of carrageenan have been associated with digestive irritation and inflammation in sensitive individuals. Add artificial colors like red 40 or caramel color, both of which have been controversial for their potential to affect behavior and contain byproducts you don't want in your body, and suddenly the pink or brown color doesn't feel so innocent anymore. What makes this worse is the marketing. Flavored milk is aggressively sold as a healthy choice for kids, athletes, and busy families. Schools push it, commercials paint it as wholesome, and companies position it as a better alternative to soda. But when the nutritional profile mirrors a dessert, the better choice argument falls apart. Children consuming flavored milk regularly are exposed to higher sugar loads, increased cravings, and unnecessary additives during the years when their habits, and their metabolic systems, are still developing. Adults aren't exempt either. Regularly drinking flavored milk contributes to energy crashes, increased appetite, and difficulty managing weight, even if the rest of your diet seems balanced. The tragic irony is that milk itself can be healthy when kept simple. Calcium, protein, and natural fats all play important roles in the body. But once you drown it in corn syrup, dyes, and chemical flavorings, whatever benefits it had are overshadowed. That's why flavored milk should be seen for what it truly is, a sugar-loaded dessert pretending to be a nutritious drink. If you enjoy the taste, there's a better way. Use unsweetened milk of your choice, cow's milk, oat milk, almond milk, and add a teaspoon of real cocoa powder with a touch of honey or maple syrup. You get the flavor without the chemical additives or the sugar bomb. Flavored milk might be comforting, nostalgic, or fun, but healthy? Not even close. If you think flavored milk is more dessert than dairy, type liquid candy in the comments. Coffee creamers, the morning ritual that quietly loads your body with chemicals. For millions of people, the day doesn't officially begin until that first sip of coffee. The warmth, the aroma, the sense of comfort, it all feels like a small daily victory. But what most people never think about is the part that goes into the mug after the coffee, the splash of store-bought creamer that seems harmless but is often one of the most processed, unhealthy dairy products you can bring into your home. And the truth is simple. Most commercial creamers aren't dairy at all. They're chemistry disguised as cream. Start with the base ingredients. Many creamers, especially the ones labeled non-dairy, are made from hydrogenated vegetable oils. These oils create trans fats, the same fat scientists link to heart disease, inflammation, and the kind of arterial damage that doesn't show up until years later. Even if the label says 0 grams trans fat, companies are legally allowed to hide up to half a gram per serving. When you use creamer every morning, those hidden fats add up faster than you think. Then there's corn syrup solids, a powdered form of sugar that spikes blood glucose just like high fructose corn syrup. It gives creamer its sweetness and thickness, but at a cost: blood sugar crashes, weight gain, insulin resistance, and cravings that hit you again hours later. And because many people pour creamer instead of measuring it, the real amount consumed is far higher than what the label suggests. Next, look at the additives. Dipotassium phosphate is used to regulate acidity so the creamer won't curdle in hot coffee. Sodium caseinate, a highly processed milk derivative, is added for texture, which is ironic because non-dairy creamers still contain a modified form of dairy. Mono and diglycerides act as emulsifiers to create that smooth, silky swirl. Titanium dioxide is used to whiten the liquid and make it look creamy, even though the same compound is used in sunscreen and paint. It's banned in the European Union because of safety concerns, yet it's still widely used in US creamers. And that's before you get to the flavored varieties. French vanilla, hazelnut, caramel macchiato. These labels sound appealing, but the ingredients behind them tell a different story. Many are flavored using artificial sweeteners like sucralose or acesulfame potassium, which alter gut bacteria, increase cravings, and can still spike insulin even though they contain no sugar. If you're trying to avoid sugar, these versions seem like the smart choice, but metabolically, they can be just as disruptive. Powdered creamers are another level entirely. They stay shelf-stable for years. Think about that. Real dairy spoils in days. Powdered creamer survives long-term storage because it's not food in the traditional sense. It's a mixture of oils, sugars, stabilizers, and anti-caking agents that your body doesn't recognize and doesn't benefit from. But here's the good news. Coffee itself is healthy. It's full of antioxidants, supports metabolism, and boosts energy naturally. What ruins it is the chemical cocktail we add to it. When you replace industrial creamers with real full-fat dairy, organic half and half, or plant-based milks like almond, oat, or coconut, your coffee actually becomes the energizing, balanced morning ritual it was meant to be. You can even make your own creamer at home using unsweetened milk, a dash of vanilla extract, and a tiny bit of honey or cinnamon. It tastes better, and your body will thank you for the upgrade. Coffee creamers are comforting, convenient, and familiar, but healthy? Not even close. If you start your day with them, you're starting your day behind. If you're done pouring chemicals into your coffee, type clean my cup in the comments. Low-fat and fat-free yogurt, one of the most misleading healthy foods ever sold. For decades, low-fat and fat-free yogurt has been sold as the perfect healthy snack. The grocery store shelves are covered in brightly colored tubs promising light, fit, zero fat, and guilt-free. And because yogurt itself has a reputation for being nutritious, most people grab these options without thinking twice. But here's the uncomfortable truth. When manufacturers remove the fat from yogurt, they also strip away the natural creaminess and the flavor that makes real yogurt satisfying. And to replace what they took out, they load the product with sugar, artificial sweeteners, synthetic fruit flavors, stabilizers, dyes, and thickeners, turning something that could be healthy into something that behaves more like dessert. Start with the sugar. Many low-fat yogurts contain 20 to 25 grams of sugar in a tiny cup. That's the same amount you'd get in a small candy bar. Without fat to slow digestion, that sugar hits your bloodstream quickly, causing an insulin spike that leaves you hungry again long before your next meal. It's the perfect recipe for cravings, afternoon crashes, and overeating. And because the package still says healthy, people rarely stop to question why they're hungry again so soon. Then come the artificial sweeteners. Aspartame, sucralose, and acesulfame potassium show up in many light versions. These sweeteners were marketed as weight loss miracles, but research has shown that they can disrupt gut bacteria, alter metabolism, and actually increase cravings for sweets. And because the brain senses something sweet but receives no actual calories, it often responds by sending hunger signals. This is how people end up eating more throughout the day without realizing why. Artificial fruit flavorings are another problem. Many of those colorful yogurts don't contain real fruit at all. Instead, they get their flavor from chemicals designed to mimic strawberries, blueberries, or peaches. And the colors, those vibrant pinks and purples, often come from dyes like Red 40 or Blue 1. These synthetic colors don't add nutrients, they only add risk, especially if you're sensitive to food dyes or trying to avoid unnecessary additives. Even the thick, creamy texture is often fake. Manufacturers use gelatin, pectin, modified cornstarch, or gums to mimic the feel of real full-fat yogurt. These ingredients make the product look appealing, but nutritionally, they bring almost nothing to the table. The result is a cheap, artificially engineered imitation of what yogurt is supposed to be. The worst part is that consumers lose the very thing that makes real yogurt healthy: the fat. Healthy dairy fat helps your body absorb vitamins like A, D, E, and K, keeps you full longer, stabilizes blood sugar, and improves nutrient absorption. By removing it, companies create a product that is less nutritious, more processed, and far more likely to trigger overeating and metabolic swings. To make matters worse, many low-fat yogurts lose probiotics during pasteurization. The cultures that survive are often overshadowed by the massive sugar load in each cup. Sugar doesn't support gut health, it feeds the very bacteria you don't want growing. The good news is that yogurt can still be one of the healthiest foods in your kitchen when you choose the real thing. Full-fat Greek yogurt or organic whole milk yogurt delivers natural probiotics, real nutrition, healthy fats, and a creamy texture without the additives or sugar overload. You control the sweetness by adding your own fruit, honey, or maple syrup. That's the difference between food and food engineering. Low-fat yogurt looks innocent, but the truth is that it's a processed dessert wearing a health halo. And once you understand the trick, it's hard to unsee it. If low-fat yogurt fooled you for years, type tricked me in the comments. Pre-shredded cheese, the convenient dairy shortcut that comes with hidden additives. At first glance, pre-shredded cheese looks harmless. It's convenient, it saves time, and it's sitting in almost every refrigerator across America. But what most people don't realize is that those soft-looking shreds are one of the most chemically altered forms of dairy you can buy. The moment cheese is shredded for mass production, companies have to prevent those little pieces from clumping, molding, or sticking together. And that's where the problems begin, because to keep it looking fresh and free-flowing, manufacturers coat every piece in additives that change both the texture and the quality of the cheese. The most infamous additive is cellulose powder. And yes, that's exactly what it sounds like: wood pulp. It's used as an anti-caking agent so the cheese doesn't fuse into one big lump in the bag. While cellulose is technically safe in small amounts, the idea of sprinkling sawdust-like fibers over your meals isn't exactly appetizing. And the more processed the cheese blend, the more cellulose it tends to contain, which dulls flavor and interferes with proper melting. Then there's potato starch and calcium sulfate, two more anti-caking agents used to absorb moisture and extend shelf life. They stop mold from forming, but they also stop the cheese from melting the way real cheese should. If you've ever wondered why bagged shredded cheese melts into a rubbery layer instead of a smooth, creamy stretch, it's because these additives are blocking the natural melting process. Real cheese melts, chemically coated shreds don't. Some brands add preservatives like natamycin, an antifungal compound used to prevent mold growth. While it's FDA approved, it's still a synthetic chemical added to a food that should only contain 3 natural ingredients: milk, enzymes, and salt. When you start piling on stabilizers, mold inhibitors, and texture agents, the cheese becomes less of a dairy product and more of a processed imitation engineered to last on shelves instead of in your body. There's also a big flavor problem. Shredded cheese loses aroma and richness because the coatings create a barrier around each shred, muting the taste. That's why people often end up using more of it just to get the same flavor satisfaction they get from a much smaller amount of real block cheese. More cheese equals more calories, more sodium, and more additives, all because of the way the product is manufactured. And if you think the blends, Mexican blend, pizza blend, Italian mix, are any better, they're usually worse. They tend to contain more stabilizers, more starches, more cellulose, and more artificial colors to create a uniform appearance. The result is cheese that technically contains dairy but behaves like a processed food. The solution is simple. Buy a block of real cheese and shred it yourself. It takes less than a minute and gives you pure, uncoated, naturally melting cheese with real flavor. No sawdust, no starches, no mold inhibitors. You'll taste the difference immediately: smoother melting, richer flavor, and a cleaner ingredient list your body understands. Convenience is nice, but not when it comes with a long list of chemicals hiding in what should be one of the simplest foods on the planet. If you're switching from bagged cheese to block cheese, Type real cheese in the comments. Greek yogurt, unsweetened, full-fat, the upgrade your body actually benefits from. After going through the long list of dairy products that pretend to be healthy but aren't, it's refreshing to finally talk about one that actually deserves the spotlight. Real, unsweetened, full-fat Greek yogurt is one of the few dairy products that still delivers what people expect from dairy: nourishment, balance, and natural nutrients your body can actually use. Unlike the sugary, low-fat versions that dominate supermarket shelves, authentic Greek yogurt is thick, creamy, and packed with protein that keeps you full for hours instead of sending your blood sugar on a roller coaster ride. The magic starts with the straining process. True Greek yogurt is strained to remove most of the whey, which leaves behind a concentrated form of yogurt with almost double the protein of regular varieties. That higher protein content stabilizes your energy levels, supports muscle recovery, and helps curb cravings throughout the day, making it one of the smartest choices for breakfast or a mid-afternoon snack. And because it's naturally lower in carbohydrates, it doesn't flood your bloodstream with sugar the way flavored yogurts do. One of the biggest benefits is the healthy fat, the very thing low-fat yogurts remove. These fats help your body absorb essential fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, all of which support immune function, vision, bone health, hormone balance, and skin repair. Fat also slows digestion, which means you stay satisfied longer and avoid the constant hunger cycle caused by fat-free products overloaded with sugar. When you choose full-fat yogurt, you're choosing real nourishment instead of artificial sweetness. Greek yogurt also delivers probiotics, the living, beneficial bacteria that strengthen your gut, improve digestion, and support a healthier immune system. And because it isn't diluted with thickeners or artificial flavors, those probiotics have a much easier time surviving and doing their job. If you choose grass-fed or organic varieties, you get an added boost of omega-3 fatty acids and conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, both known for their anti-inflammatory and heart protective benefits. The best part is how versatile Greek yogurt is. You can keep it simple with fresh berries, a drizzle of honey, or a sprinkle of nuts. You can blend it into smoothies, use it as a base for dips, or even replace sour cream or mayonnaise in recipes. Every serving becomes a way to upgrade your nutrition without feeling like you're dieting or sacrificing flavor. And unlike low-fat yogurt, there's no need to worry about artificial sweeteners, dyes, or added sugars hiding behind a healthy label. Greek yogurt is one of those rare foods that lives up to the hype: clean, nutrient-dense, satisfying, and naturally delicious. When you strip away all the tricks and marketing, this is what dairy was meant to be. If Greek yogurt is officially replacing your sugary cups, type real fuel in the comments. Grass-fed butter, the fat your body actually knows how to use. For years, butter was treated like the villain of the kitchen. It was blamed for clogged arteries, heart attacks, weight gain, and almost every health problem imaginable. Doctors repeated the message, magazines printed it in bold letters, and entire industries rose up to replace butter with margarine and artificial spreads. But here's the truth that finally came out: the problem was never real butter. The real danger came from the processed, lab-engineered substitutes that tried to replace it. And once you separate myth from science, grass-fed butter stands out as one of the most nutrient-dense, beneficial fats you can put on your plate. Grass-fed butter is radically different from the cheap, pale sticks made from grain-fed cows. When cows eat grass, their natural diet, they produce milk that's richer in vitamins, healthier fats, and powerful anti-inflammatory compounds your body actually recognizes. That's why real grass-fed butter has a deep golden color. That color isn't cosmetic, it's a sign of nutrition. Start with the fat-soluble vitamins. Grass-fed butter is loaded with vitamins A, D, E, and K2, nutrients essential for strong bones, hormone balance, brain health, immune function, and even healthy skin. K2 is especially important because it guides calcium into your bones where it belongs, instead of letting it deposit in your arteries where it can cause long-term damage. Most people never get enough K2, and grass-fed butter is one of the richest natural sources available. Then there's the fat composition itself. Grass-fed butter contains higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids, the same heart-protective fats found in salmon and chia seeds. It also contains conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, a compound that supports metabolism, reduces inflammation, and has been linked to improved fat burning and better blood sugar control. Some research even suggests CLA has mild anti-cancer benefits, something no one expected to find in a food that was once labeled dangerous. Contrast that with conventional butter from grain-fed cows, which contains imbalanced fatty acids and can carry residues from GMO feed, pesticides, and antibiotics. Grass-fed butter simply offers a cleaner, more natural nutritional profile that aligns with how the human body evolved to process food. And when it comes to cooking, grass-fed butter is one of the most stable fats you can use. It handles heat better than vegetable oils, which easily oxidize and form harmful compounds when exposed to high temperatures. Whether you're sautéing vegetables, scrambling eggs, or finishing a steak, grass-fed butter gives you flavor and nutrition without the toxic byproducts that come from cheap industrial oils. The irony is that the foods advertised as heart-healthy, margarine, vegetable spreads, seed oils, turned out to be the ones contributing to inflammation, oxidative stress, and metabolic disease. Meanwhile, real butter, especially from grass-fed cows, offers nutrients and healthy fats that your body can use to build hormones, support cell membranes, and keep your metabolism running smoothly. The key is moderation and quality. A small amount of real, grass-fed butter nourishes your body in ways artificial spreads never can. And once you taste the difference, the richer color, the deeper flavor, the natural creaminess, you realize how far the food industry drifted from what real food is supposed to be. Grass-fed butter isn't the enemy. It's the upgrade. If you're bringing real butter back into your kitchen, type butter upgrade in the comments.